Every year, the entire car world pretty much takes over Las Vegas for one of the wildest, most insane events on the calendar, the SEMA show. It's where the absolute limits of car engineering, wild designs, and just pure imagination get completely shattered. So come on, let's pop the hood and see what this whole thing is all about.
I've heard a lot of people describe the show this way, and honestly, it just hits the nail on the head. It really is the happiest place on earth if you love cars. I mean, you see absolutely everything. Brand new concepts right next to legendary classics, all of them tweaked and tuned in ways you couldn't even make up.
All right, so to make some sense of all this glorious chaos, we're going to break down the best stuff from SEMA 2025 into a few big themes. We'll kick things off with the insane power of modern muscle. Then we'll check out how builders are mashing up the old with the new. After that, we'll see how race tech makes its way to the street, and we'll wrap up with the builds that are just beautifully, wonderfully nuts.
Okay, first up, let's just talk about raw, unfiltered power. SEMA is really the place where big car makers get to flex their engineering muscles. It's what happens when you tell them there are no rules. You just take a modern performance car and you crank that dial way past 10, all the way to 11. And boy, does Mopar have the perfect example of this. They dropped this thing on the show floor, and it is a statement. This isn't some fantasy concept car. Nope. This is a factory-built, drag-strip-only beast built to take on Ford's Cobra jet and Chevy's COPO Camaro. And it is just absolutely rowdy.
So the big question, how much power are we talking about here? Well, officially, the numbers are a little bit of a wink-wink, nudge-nudge kind of deal. But between you and me, that massive supercharged V8 is for sure pushing well over 1,000 horsepower.
And yeah, you guessed it. A factory-built race car with that kind of power, well, it's not going to be cheap. This thing is going to set you back over $200,000. So yeah, this is for the serious drag racers out there. And here's the kicker. Even if you have that kind of cash just lying around, good luck finding one. They're only making 50. 50. That's it. This is the very definition of exclusive. It's Dodge shouting from the rooftops that crazy, gas-guzzling muscle is very much alive and kicking. But look, SEMA isn't just about what's brand spanking new. It's also a massive celebration of car history. And that brings us to one of the biggest and coolest trends at the show, the restomod. That's where builders take a beautiful classic car and jam it full of modern tech, modern power, and, modern reliability. A perfect case in point is this thing, the Hellfish. So you take the gorgeous, aggressive look of a 1974 Barracuda, and then you shove the supercharged heart of a modern Dodge Hellcat under the hood. Oh, and they kept a manual transmission in it. Can you even imagine what a riot this thing must be to drive? It's literally the best of both worlds, that classic style with power that will just shred tires. But wait, it can get even more wild. This next build, they call it Sanja, and it honestly just broke my brain a little. So get this. At its heart, it's a 2017 Shelby GT350, but the entire front end is from a 2012 Boss 302, which they then widened so it would perfectly match the newer car's body. It's like they fused two different generations of Mustang into one absolutely stunning and totally unique car. All right, so another huge theme you see everywhere at SEMA is this really cool connection between the racetrack and the cars in the showroom. See, there's this process called homologation, which basically means that for car companies to go racing, they often have to build and sell a certain number of street-legal versions. And that's awesome for us because it means all that incredible race tech eventually finds its way into cars that you and I can actually go out and buy. The new Mustang is just a perfect example of how this works. You start with the real deal, the full-on S650 GT3 race car that you see tearing it up in races like IMSA. Because of that car, we get the GTD, which is pretty much a street-legal version of the race car. And then you can see that influence, that DNA, trickle down even more to cars like this Dark Horse Mustang. I mean, it's literally running the street version of the exact same wheels from the race car. You can trace the family tree right there on the show floor. Okay, now we're getting to the stuff that makes SEMA truly legendary. These are the builds that you just can't put in a box. They're passion projects born from someone in their garage asking the simple question, hey, what if? These are the cars that make you stop in your tracks, scratch your head for a second, and then just break out in a massive grin. So let me ask you something. When you picture a high-performance monster, does a 2017 Lincoln Continental pop into your head? Yeah, probably not, right? And that is exactly what makes this car one of the most incredible things at the entire show. It is the definition of a sleeper, a car that looks totally normal on the outside, but is an absolute monster underneath.
The amount of work that went into this is it's staggering. They ripped out the original engine and swapped in a gigantic 6.8-liter Ford V10. They converted this front-wheel drive luxury boat into a rear-wheel drive beast using subframes from a Mustang. They threw on huge brakes to make it stop, and, this is the best part, they put a manual transmission in it, a stick shift. This isn't just a car, it's a masterpiece of insane engineering.
When it's all said and done, after you've walked the miles and miles of halls at SEMA, you realize it's so much more than a car show. It's really a giant festival of what's possible. It's where the past and the future of cars just smash into each other, and the result is this incredible explosion of power, nostalgia, and just pure, unfiltered creativity. And all of this leaves you with one big, fascinating question. As the entire car world starts shifting towards electric, what does the next generation of SEMA madness even look like? Are we going to see 1,000-horsepower EV swaps in classic muscle cars? Will builders find totally new ways to be crazy? I don't know for sure, but I can tell you one thing. That spirit of creativity, that passion we saw this year, that isn't going anywhere.